Greetings. So, today I'm going to talk about why I am extremely angry at a certain cinematic. That one being, of course, the Shadowlands cinematic trailer for the Lich King. Now, to begin with, there are some excuses that people have been using in the comments and whatnot to try and explain it away. But I'm going to counter those as I go through, because not only am I angry, I find that this is entirely unsatisfying lore-wise. Now, to begin with, you see Sylvanas approaching the Throne of the Damned, the Ice Crown Citadel itself. And she gets up to look at Bolvar. Now, Bolvar, of course, he's looking fresh. He always has been. And so he makes himself go all icy. He gets ready. He's gonna show her what it means to face against the Jailer of the Damned, right? And he does for a little bit. So it cuts to black. We don't see her actually fight this entire army of undead, because okay, to begin with, right? The Lich King, he has an entire army of undead, right? And I'm not surprised that Sylvanas can defeat that. However, why would the Lich King, this incredibly cunning and powerful tactician, this isn't just the Lich King, Lord of the Damned, this is Bolvar Fourdragon, former general of Stormwind's army. He wasn't just a good guy, he was a tactician. He knows how to win in a fight. So why is it that he would just stand there while all of his henchmen do the work? He is well aware that you can't just sit there and let your army do it. In fact, in the Wrathgate cinematic, he does exactly what he should have done here. He should have gone in with the entire army and fought. That is what you do. You don't sit there in the back like, okay, well, I have more people, so that's going to work. He fought the Lich King. He knows that's not going to be enough. So, let's continue. Now, here we see Sylvanas has obviously defeated the entire army, because apparently Bolvar is incapable of taking care of a single woman while she's pestered on all sides. Oh wait, that's right! He just didn't fight for some reason. From what I can tell, it seems that this is his first strike against her. Now, you would expect, for in the coming battle, given that she has just fought an entire army of undead, that she would be exhausted. She must be weary, exhausted, and so she will probably have some trouble fighting him. Let's continue. Now, as you can see, he's already got 2 arrows in him at the very start. Now, I can respect that he's not a super agile guy, but keep in mind, right? This isn't just any old dude. This is the Lich King, right? He could have easily, or what he should have done is raised like an ice spike or something to root her. I mean, it's so silly. You know, summon one of your many dragons to help you. What happened? Oh, right, the Valkyr don't serve him anymore, because apparently he doesn't actually control the undead now. Sit there and use your powers. You shouldn't immediately go face to face and start trying to hit her. The Lich King doesn't do that. The Lich King starts by freezing and wearing away at the enemies, right? You know, in the Arthas battle, what he did, he would go around, he would wear you down, he would bring howling, blistering winters against you. He would bring pools of necrotic power that would just obliterate you if you weren't there very quickly. In fact, he would even occasionally put an entire globule of disease in people. Now, you could say that this disease, this infestation, wouldn't work on Sylvanas because she's undead, but the players that were the undead race were still being affected by it. The Lich King surpasses many normal mortal rules. In fact, why is it Sylvanas, particularly, cannot raise Worgen undead, but the Lich King can? That should give you an idea of the fact that one of them is at the very least a more powerful necromancer than the other. Alright, let's continue. So, apparently in this version, Bolvar is just a slow-moving brute, which I think is an absolute disservice to the Lich King. To begin with, Arthas was a skilled fighter. Bolvar was a skilled fighter. Ner'zhul, he was a shaman. He sat in a block of ice his whole reign. right? We didn't really get to see his powers, except for whenever he literally could just dominate entire armies of undead. That was one of his things. He was... A lot of people have said that because he has no Frostmourne, we should not expect for him to have that much power. He doesn't have Frostmourne. What he does have, however, is the Helm of Domination. The same thing that made Ner'zhul the Lich King. And you know what Ner'zhul the Lich King did? He turned Kel'Thuzad, one of the Council of Six, into his little whimpering pup. Because Kel'Thuzad knew that there was nothing he could do. He brought an entire army to heal, overrunning it for his own good. That was Ner'zhul. Ner'zhul never even had to go onto the battlefield. He just sat there in a block of ice. Why is it that Bolvar is incapable of doing something similar? You know, at the very least, show us some sort of indication that Bolvar is going to use his abilities. So Sylvanas obviously is jumping back and treating him like a patchwork monstrosity. And now, he finally does something smart. Oh wait, instead of using his numerous blizzard abilities, he just sends a bunch of slow-moving spikes. Now you could say these are very fast, but we know Sylvanas. We know that she'll escape it. He knows that she'll escape it. He's not an idiot, or at least he shouldn't be, but apparently Blizzard's making him into one. So Sylvanas, she just takes another arrow and just shoots straight through a piece of rock. Because that is what we've reached. Sylvanas, honestly, when are they just going to release a video of her 1v1ing N'Zoth? You may as well, right? That we're setting that sort of precedent here. Whenever she can defeat the Jailer of the Damned alone. Now, Bolvar finally does something important with his powers. He creates a blizzard. And he surrounds Sylvanas. He can pop out of the shadows. But of course, Sylvanas, because she's apparently just Spider-Man or something, can avoid all of these attacks. You know, it's okay to show your lovely girl being weak from time to time. What makes a fight interesting is whenever both sides have vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Think back to, like, okay, if you watched Teen Titans, Robin and Slade, both of them had many combat opportunities. While Slade was very clearly the better of the two, he still occasionally Robin would get incredibly good strikes against him that would leave him enraged. Now, that was interesting because you knew that Robin possessed the power to defeat Slade if he honed his abilities to a fine point. This is not interesting. This is just Sylvanas looking smug and shooting a guy, and apparently dodging every single attack. She finally gets hit by something, and you're like, okay, that's good. She's vulnerable. This is what needed to happen. She should have been absolutely obliterated, or at the very least forced to retreat. And Bolvar, he just sits. He's reviewing what he's done, and all of a sudden we've got the Chains of the Damned. You know who else uses chains? Kel'Thuzad. Why is Kel'Thuzad not the chain guy? Why is Sylvanas all of a sudden taking his thunder? Kel'Thuzad, by the way, is not dead yet. That is the only reason that I am happy about this, is because it means that maybe we'll get some Kel'Thuzad back. Kel'Thuzad is my favorite villain. So Lich King, all of a sudden, he's being restricted. He's literally just being chained by everything, right? And it's like, come on. Why does this have to happen to Bolvar twice? So Sylvanas then proceeds to throw a bigger block of ice. And apparently, whereas Sylvanas can shoot an arrow through an entire sheet of ice, the Lich King can't use his hammer and his extreme might to break through it. Because that makes sense, doesn't it? That this frail girl can just shoot an arrow through all of the ice, but the Lich King can't batter through it with his hammer. Look at this. Why is Sylvanas using the Force on the Lich King? The Lich King has dominion over the undead! It doesn't even make sense. If anything, he should be exerting that power over her. I'm aware that she's probably got some dark patron helping her. Yeah, but the Helm of Domination was made by the Burning Crusade. You know, those people who literally obliterated every world except for Azeroth. This isn't just some normal weapon. You know, it's high above the power of an artifact weapon in Legion. It's high above the power of Buon Sandi. What is it that makes Sylvanas so special? Apparently there is some great entity in the Shadowlands that is giving her power. Well, it doesn't give her the same power that wiped out half of the universe. Here we see what should have happened. What should have happened is the Lich King, using his superior strength, should have whacked her in the skull with a hammer. Instead, however, because Sylvanas is apparently immortal, it doesn't happen. And she continues to just look at this guy with her smug face. And here's the thing. She doesn't even have a real reason for being here. She just wants to break open the veil because she's a tard. I mean, that is her entire story, is doing stupid stuff. And then acting like it's for some greater plan. You can say it's for a greater plan, maybe it is, but I doubt that that plan makes all of this worth it. You know, you've destroyed the Jailer of the Damned. You have destroyed any goodwill that you had with the Horde. You have destroyed any relationship that you could have had with, you know, your own faction, the Forsaken. And then, Nathanos, because he's apparently just a little puppy dog, he shows up anyways. He's like, oh, whatever. I mean, none of us are worthwhile, but I guess I'll just call you my love, and apparently that exempts me.
You are unfit to wear this crown.
You're unfit to even be in this area! Sylvanas is supposed to be cold and calculating, not shattering ice with an arrow shot. Apparently, we're gonna do the classic twist turn. We're gonna be like, oh, Sylvanas is gonna take the helmet on. And then she just breaks it because she wants to release everything.
Is a prison.
Wow, what a surprise. She's moping about her suffering again. You know, it would be one thing if at the very least Sylvanas had, like, half of the emotional, you know, power that the others did. She used to be a really emotionally powerful character. You know, whenever she committed suicide jumping off of the Ice King's Tower, that, in fact, that's a good question. Why is it that when she has already experienced the horrors of the Shadowlands, now she just wants to release it on everybody? Is she just trying to cause mass chaos? Is she just a terrorist now? You would think that she would at least have some semblance of self-preservation. She should look at the idea of the Shadowlands coming into the world, and she should be terrified. But no, apparently that doesn't matter anymore. Wow! Congratulations, Sylvanas. You can break a helmet. You know, that also raises a good question. Why can Sylvanas break this helmet? It is one of the most powerful artifacts in the known game, right? With Frostmourne, right? Tyrion had to shatter it with the Ashbringer and the Blessing of the Light, right? We have Sulfuras. You had to go through an entire questline to craft it, but apparently if Sylvanas gets her hands on it, she'll just break it. Because why not? She doesn't have to do any ritual. She doesn't have to make any special plan. Nope, she just breaks the helmet. And I think Bolvar's face is actually really appropriate here. He's just like, what is this? This doesn't make any sense lore-wise. Congratulations, Blizzard. You have now destroyed one of the coolest items in World of Warcraft history. Wow, and I will free it incoming.
And I will set us all free.
Alright, I'm gonna end the recording there because apparently YouTube only lets me put like 15 minutes in. But trust me, I have other thoughts.